She was sleeping in her car, still in her waitress uniform, shoes on, name tag glowing faintly under the parking lot lights. Raymond froze. His hands trembled on the edge of the kitchen sink. This couldn't be real. That was Nina. The same Nina who just served 3 screaming kids and an angry trucker with the patience of a saint. The same Nina who said, "Have a good night, sir," with a tired smile. Now she was curled up in the front seat of a battered sedan. Alone. Cold. And too proud to tell anyone. Raymond didn't speak. Didn't blink. He just stared out the back window of his own diner, watching one of his best employees sleep in her car behind the restaurant he built with his own 2 hands. How did this happen? How did he miss this? He'd built Cole's Diner to help working families, to give people like Nina a chance. And yet, here she was, living in a parking lot, working full-time, invisible, forgotten, and she never said a word. She didn't ask for a handout, didn't make a scene. She just kept working. That night, Raymond realized something. This wasn't just about a struggling employee. It was about a system he let rot from the inside. He had no idea what was coming next. But he knew one thing. He couldn't walk away from this. Not again. Not this time. Tomorrow. He whispered, voice tight in his throat. Everything changes. 2 weeks earlier, Raymond Cole had made a decision that most CEOs wouldn't dare. He pulled a faded ball cap out of his closet, put on an old denim jacket, and walked out the door. No driver. No assistant. Just a quiet mission on his mind. He was going undercover. Not for a television show. Not for attention. He didn't even tell his board of directors. This was personal. Cole's Diner had been his life's work. 12 locations across 3 counties. A business born out of his mother's recipes and his father's old diner counter. Built from scratch after he left the military and poured every dollar he had into a 4-table cafe in Elk Ridge. For 20 years, he'd believed he was doing the right thing. Paying fair wages. Offering second chances. Feeding working families at fair prices. But lately, things had felt off. Complaints were up. Morale was down. And worst of all, he didn't recognize the tone in some of the staff emails anymore. Cold. Transactional. Resentful. Then came the final straw. A loyal cook of 10 years had quit without notice. Left a short note on the back of a receipt. It read, "It's not the money. It's what this place has become." That hit Raymond like a punch to the gut. So he picked the location most people had forgotten, Diner 3 in Millstone. An old highway spot, tucked between a laundromat and a shut-down pawn shop. The kind of place that once held charm, but now looked tired and worn. And that's where he met her. Nina. She didn't talk much. Didn't complain. But she worked like her. Life depended on it. Polite to every customer. Wiping tables, even when no one asked. Covering shifts no one wanted. Raymond had seen a lot of workers come and go. But Nina, there was something about her. Something quiet. Determined. Invisible. Almost. Now, as he stood in the kitchen 2 weeks later, staring out at her sleeping in that car, he realized he'd gone undercover to fix a broken culture, but he had just uncovered something deeper, something far more human. The first time Raymond truly noticed her was during the Saturday night rush. The diner was packed, kids crying, coffee spilling, orders backed up, and the fryer screaming like a dying machine. Yet in the middle of the chaos, there was Nina, moving like clockwork, refilling coffee with one hand, sliding plates with the other, smiling through every complaint, every mess, every tired face. She wasn't loud. She didn't crack jokes like some of the younger staff, but customers responded to her. They thanked her, tipped her, and even one grumpy old man who usually never said a word whispered, "You take care of people like my daughter used to?" That's when Raymond really began to pay attention. One night, a young woman came in holding a sleeping toddler in her arms. She looked exhausted, clothes stained. Maybe she hadn't had a full meal in days. Nina didn't ask questions, didn't look down. She just smiled and said, "Sit wherever you like. Honey, I've got something warm for both of you." She paid for the kids' mac and cheese out of her own tips, then slipped a sandwich into the mother's bag on her way out. Raymond had seen charity before: loud, flashy, performative. But this was quiet grace. Later that evening, after the last table cleared out, Raymond saw her wipe every table twice. She then pulled a plastic bag from her apron and gently wrapped a half-eaten grilled cheese, folded napkins around it, and placed it in her purse like it was gold. She thought no one was watching, but he saw, and he began to understand. This wasn't just about a hard-working employee. Nina was surviving. She was holding everything together on pure willpower. One moment especially stayed with him. Raymond had dropped a fork by mistake while helping bus a table. He bent down to grab it. But Nina got there first. As she handed it to him, their eyes met. Her smile was kind, but tired. She said softly, "Some days feel heavier than others." Oh, it wasn't a complaint. It was a shared truth, like two soldiers recognizing the same kind of battle fatigue. Raymond nodded, barely able to reply. That night, as he sat in his motel room across the street, he wrote one line in his notebook. "She's not just working. She's carrying something the rest of us can't see." The night he found out, Raymond had stayed late to help with inventory. It was past 1:30 a.m. when he stepped outside, stretching his back and wiping sweat from his brow. The diner was quiet now. No laughter. No clatter of plates. Just the buzzing of the neon sign and the low hum of crickets. As he walked toward the back lot to take out the trash, he saw the silver sedan again. Same spot. Same car. It hadn't moved in days. Curious. He walked past it slowly. That's when he saw her. Nina, curled up in the driver's seat. Jacket zipped all the way up. Her face lit faintly by the diner's back light. Her shoes were off. A pillow rested on her lap, and tucked beside her was a small lunchbox, still closed. Raymond froze. Time seemed to stop. He stepped back behind the dumpster. His breath caught in his chest. He waited, watched, and then it all clicked. The moments she came to work early, the times she stayed late but never walked toward the bus stop, how she always avoided questions about her commute. This car, this wasn't a ride home. It was her home. Raymond stared at the ground, then up at the sky. His throat tightened. This wasn't just a case of someone going through a rough patch. This was a working woman on the payroll, full-time sleeping in her car. And no one noticed. Not the manager, not the shift leads, not even him. He felt disgust rise in his gut, not at her, at himself. He was the owner. He signed her checks. And somehow, He'd become so far removed from the people he once promised to protect that he didn't see one of them slipping through the cracks. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat at the edge of his motel bed, staring at the small window overlooking the diner parking lot. The light from the street lamps made the silver car glow faintly in the dark, and all he could think was, how did I let this happen? Raymond arrived early the next morning, too early for anyone to suspect anything. He didn't sleep, didn't shave, didn't even change clothes. He went straight to the back office and sat in the break room pretending to organize supply forms. But really, he was watching. Travis, the manager, strolled in late with a coffee in one hand and a Bluetooth earpiece in the other. Didn't greet anyone. Didn't even notice the trash bags still sitting by the back door. Raymond had seen this type before. Flashy, loud, all talk, and worst of a lazy leadership, delegating everything but taking credit when it counted. Then he noticed something else. Every time customers left a cash tip at the counter, Travis would offer to count it for the team, then disappear into the office with the jar. When it came back, it was always a little lighter. Later, Raymond caught Travis texting at the register while Nina wiped tables during the post-lunch rush. She looked drained. He looked entertained. That night, Raymond stayed late again, pretending to lock up. He waited until Travis thought everyone had gone home. That's when he saw it. Travis unlocked the tip jar, pulled out several bills, counted them, smirked. Then, he pocketed the cash. Raymond's jaw tightened, hands clenched. Now it made sense. The whispers, the low morale, the note from the cook who quit, the quiet resentment under every smile. The culture was broken, and Travis was a big part of it. But the worst part, Nina knew. He saw it in her eyes that night when Travis shouted at a young hostess for seating a walk-in too close to closing time. Nina, flinched but stayed silent. She didn't defend the girl. She didn't argue, just kept wiping the counter. Eyes lowered. After the shift, Raymond approached her near the sink. "You okay?" he asked. She gave a small smile. "Just tired. See ya. Nothing I can't handle." But it wasn't okay. She was scared. Not just of losing her job, but of what might happen if she stood up and no one stood behind her. That's what hit Raymond the hardest. She wasn't just poor. She wasn't just homeless. She was trapped. It was during a quiet Sunday shift that Nina opened up just a little. The lunch crowd had cleared out. Raymond was restocking napkins near the soda machine. Nina wiped down the dessert case, humming faintly to herself. He asked gently, "You always work weekends?" She nodded. "Yeah. Saturdays and Sundays are when I make the most. Plus, I don't really have anywhere else to be." Her voice was casual, but her eyes said something else. He waited a beat, then said, "You're good with people. You ever think about being a nurse or something medical?" Nina smiled a little. "Funny you say that. Years ago, I wanted to. Even took a few community college classes before, well, life happened." She hesitated, then added, "I did once help a woman after a car crash. Though, middle of nowhere. Just me, her, and a busted engine." Raymond paused. "Really? What happened?" It was raining hard. She swerved off the road and hit a tree. I was driving my old pickup behind her. I pulled over, ran out. And God, she was bleeding bad. Nina's voice got quiet. I held her hand until the ambulance came. She kept saying, "Tell my husband I love him," over and over. I didn't even know her name. Raymond stood still, frozen. His heart dropped into his stomach. This was, where? Highway 74, near Rockledge. Maybe 6 years ago. She didn't make it. Though, Nina lowered her eyes. He never forgot her face. Neither did he, because that was the night his wife died. The mystery woman who held her hand until the end was standing right in front of him, wiping tables, sleeping in a car, getting yelled at by a manager who didn't deserve to shine her shoes. I felt dizzy. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't random. This woman, the one life had crushed, the one who refused to quit, was the same woman who gave his wife comfort in her final breath. And she had no idea. Raymond excused himself, claiming he needed to make a call. But instead, he stood outside, hands shaking, fighting tears. How long did I walk past her without knowing? How many people like her did I stop seeing altogether? He'd come undercover, looking for operational problems. He'd found something else entirely. A connection, and a reckoning. Raymond didn't sleep that night either. By morning, he wasn't just tired. He was done. Done pretending. Done hiding. Done watching good people suffer while his name sat proudly on the front sign. He arrived at the diner 10 minutes before opening, not in his denim jacket and cap this time, but in a pressed shirt, clean shaven. His real self. The staff stared. Travis squinted. Confused. "Can I help you?" "Seal." Raymond didn't answer. He walked straight to the middle of the dining room, cleared his throat. "Morning. Everyone. My name is Raymond Cole. I'm the founder and owner of this diner and 11 more just like it." Silence. A fork dropped in the kitchen. Someone gasped. Nina froze. Mid-pour at the coffee station. Raymond continued. "For the last 2 weeks, I've been working among you undercover to understand what's really happening inside my company." He turned toward Travis. "And what I've found disgusts me." Travis laughed nervously. "Wait, what are you talking about? I've run this place for 6 years. And in those 6 years, you've stolen from your team, yelled at your staff, and turned this diner into a place people fear instead of feel proud of." He held up the tip jar. "I stayed late last night. I saw you take from this. I saw you pocket what wasn't yours." Travis went pale. Raymond turned to the room. "This ends now." He faced Travis again. "You're fired. Immediately. And permanently." Gasps echoed through the room. Travis opened his mouth, but Raymond cut him off. "Pack your things. Now." Then he turned to the rest of the staff, his voice calmer. "To everyone else, I'm sorry. I built this place to be a safe job. A stepping stone. A second chance. I let people down, but that changes starting today." He looked directly at Nina. Her eyes were wide, full of disbelief. "You shouldn't be sleeping in a car." "Nina." She stiffened. The room fell still. Raymond stepped closer. Gently. "You've carried more than anyone here." Quietly. "With dignity. That ends today." 2. "But we'll talk in private." The staff stood speechless, some tearing up, some whispering, but no one questioned him. Raymond looked around one last time. then said, "I'm not here to play hero. I'm here to fix what I broke." They sat together in the corner booth later that afternoon. No uniforms, no customers, just two Peefy finally seeing each other for who they really were. Raymond spoke first. "I owe you a thank you and an apology." Nina looked confused. "For what?" "For saving my wife's life or trying to, and for everything you've done here. I saw it all." Her lips parted slightly. Raymond continued, voice steady but quiet. "You've been working 2 jobs, living out of your car, still smiling, still giving, still showing up." He placed a small folder on the table. Inside, a 6-month lease, already signed, for a studio apartment 3 blocks from the diner. Utilities covered, no strings attached. This isn't charity. Nina, it's stability until you can breathe again. Her hands trembled as she opened the folder. Tears welled, but she blinked them back. "Why are you doing this?" She whispered, "Because you deserve it. And because I didn't see you soon enough." It took a deep breath. "Also, I'd like you to consider stepping into a new role here. Assistant manager. I'll personally train you. And when you're ready, there's a full-time management track waiting." Nina's eyes widened. "Me. But I didn't finish school. I'm not. You're more than capable. I've watched you lead without the title. The best managers aren't the loudest. They're the ones people trust. And everyone here trusts you." She sat in silence, then nodded slowly. "I want to earn it." "You already have," he said softly. Over the next 2 weeks, things changed. Raymond installed a new HR contact line. He began rotating managers between stores to prevent toxic power buildups. Staff, who'd stayed silent for years, finally felt safe enough to speak. And Nina, she moved into her new apartment with her son, Caleb. Her first night there, she sent Raymond a text. It read, "He slept through the night without hearing car horns. Thank you." Raymond read it twice, then turned off his phone and sat in silence. For the first time in years, he felt proud, not of the business, but of what he chose to fix when no one else was looking. 3 months later, Raymond returned to the diner. No announcements. No cameras. Just him walking in through the front door like any other customer. It was a Wednesday afternoon. Quiet. A few truckers in the corner booth. A young couple by the window. And a toddler banging a spoon on the table. And at the center of it all was Nina. Not in her old uniform. She now wore a navy blue button-down, a name badge that read, "Assistant Manager," and a quiet confidence that filled the room before she even spoke. She moved differently now. Still kind. Still calm. But there was something in her posture. Straight shoulders. Lifted chin. Eyes that looked people in the eye. She saw him from across the room and smiled. Not the tired smile he remembered, but a full one. A real one. She walked over. Thought I recognized that face. "You want the usual." He chuckled. "Yeah. Extra crispy bacon. Just like always." She nodded and waved over a new server, someone young. Nervous. Clearly still learning. Nina gently guided her through the order, coaching her with patience. Raymond watched. She was a leader now, not because of a title, but because people followed her. A few minutes later, she brought him his plate. "You good?" she asked. Raymond nodded. "Better than good." He paused. then looked around the diner. It felt warmer, lighter. Not just the new paint on the walls or the quieter music. It was the people. "You did all this," he said. She shrugged. "You gave me the keys. I just unlocked the door." He smiled. As she walked back toward the kitchen, Raymond sat alone at his booth, coffee in hand. Watching the life pulse through a place he almost lost. He thought about how close he'd come to missing her story, to missing so many stories like hers. The problem was never just bad managers or tip jars. It was forgetting to look, to ask, to see. He looked out the window. Sunlight spilled onto the sidewalk. A small boy waved at Nina through the glass Caleb. She waved back, beaming. Raymond took a long sip of coffee and whispered to himself. She never needed saving. She just needed someone to notice. Some stories don't need million-dollar endings. Sometimes, all it takes is someone finally looking up, finally listening, finally seeing the person who's been there all along. Nina didn't ask for sympathy. She didn't beg. She didn't play victim. She just showed up day after day, doing the best she could with what life handed her. And maybe that's the kind of strength we overlook the most. If this story moved you even a little, if it made you think twice about the people around you, then don't just scroll away. Leave a comment below. Tell us what part hit you hardest. Was it when he saw her sleeping in her car? When she told the story about the accident? Or maybe when she said, "You gave me the key. I just unlocked the door." If you believe the world needs more stories like this, stories about dignity, courage, and quiet strength, then do one small thing right now. Tap that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to feel seen. Because out there right now, someone like Nina is still working, still trying, still hoping someone finally notices, and maybe that someone is you. Thank you for watching Undercover Story, where the truth always finds its way home.